In the service industry, there's a lot of blue and white. I would say people who are in finance use a lot of blue and white. People who work in airlines, service-oriented, a lot of blue and white in the airline uniforms. Those are colors of responsibility and colors that are seeking approval. They're colors which inspire trust. There are colors not to wear when you're trying to inspire trust, which is the other side of the coin, which, for example, are a lot of reds. Yellow, red and yellow don't inspire trust. Those are holiday colors, for example, that inspire joy and love. When the blood pressure goes up, they inspire that emotion.
Many years ago, and I mean many years ago when I tell you, I was 24, and I took a class on using color and wardrobing. There was someone named Jennifer Butler who used to work with people on how to wardrobe so that your color supports who you are in your energy instead of detracts. So maybe someone with very intense energy, someone like me, should never wear red, for example. I'll give you an example. And how that would get in the way. And so when you're going to shop, you don't just shop based on what colors you like, but what colors on a frequency level are going to accentuate and complement and get the job done in communicating.
Exactly. That's the way I see it, too. There is one element to it that you have to kind of personalize it, because there's some colors, for example, as I was explaining years ago, I could wear red, and now I can't really do a lot of reds. There are colors that some people feel comfortable in innately, and some that they just never will feel comfortable in. There's some people that can wear white, and some people that can wear black, and some people that can't conversely do white or black. And so you have to be kind of a little sensitive to what they're vibrating to as a person in general, and then also work with the colors that are appropriate to what their goal is. It's a little bit of a fine line there.
You're in nursing school right now.
I am.
You're going to bridge Kung Fu, nursing, feng shui, and colors. They're going to throw you out of the hospitals. What are you doing? You're going to be the most mystical nurse they've ever seen.
Well, I've got a little bit of something for everybody. I think that this is the world that we're moving into now, is this new modality, this matrix, where it's a rainbow, and things that no longer work well, we're supplementing with things that work better and merging them. And Eastern and Western medicine, certainly this has been an issue for a long time. I see myself as merging East, being the bridge between East and West in terms of healing modality. And certainly Kung Fu has taught me to cultivate as a woman an amount of courage and perseverance that I would never have had, certainly. Nursing is the Western part, which I'm learning diligently. But I think that there's going to be more and more need of this in hospitals as time goes on, and it's more acceptable. And I think it's slowly becoming more acceptable. I wish it was a little quicker, but it will be people who are in the medical field who have Eastern backgrounds on any kind of modality really is going to be a great benefit to people in assisting them to heal, or if it's their time to pass over, to assist them to pass over to the higher light in a peaceful and confident way and in a loving way. That is what I see my role as.
How have your children received you with all of your work in Kung Fu? What do they think about their mom?
They were weaned on it.
Are they little Kung Fu kids?
They are indeed, yes. They break bricks and things like that. But they were brought up with it, and I see them as the future. Certainly they are my offspring, and they are the current generation who are the ones who are really going to be tweaking all this stuff. I see myself as being part of the group of people who are born to bring it in, but that is a generation that will really get it flying high.
How much does meditation come into play for being effective and masterful in Kung Fu? Do they teach you or tell you that you should meditate, or is that a separate thing that you've brought on and integrated with Kung Fu?
It's definitely part of it. Also, it's breath control. Through meditation, you go into other things, but it's the basis for breath control and controlling one's emotions too. You have to control your emotions when you do Kung Fu, especially when you get to the point where you can really snuff out a life.
So what kind of breathing exercises do you do daily?
Well, I try to remember to breathe, number one, because I find that with all the anxiety, most of us forget to breathe. I mean, literally, or our breathing patterns will be inconsistent. So I just try to remember to become conscious, even if I'm not meditating per se, but working through the day. I try to be conscious, oh, I'm breathing, there's my breath. That leads into greater feelings of calmness. But it's mostly just being aware of the breath, even in a meditative state. You just keep listening to that breath.
Back in December of last year, we did a piece with Pamela Grout, who wrote the book Jumpstart Your Metabolism, How to Lose Weight by Changing the Way You Breathe. But it was a remarkable book of breathing exercises and explanations. She lost a ton of weight learning how to breathe and realized that it was crucial to health, to decision-making processes, to overall well-being. It was really fascinating. Then when I did an interview with Omar Farouk Takbalek, who's an international musician who performs a lot in the Middle East, he talked about how he worked with the Sufi masters to learn how to breathe and how important breathing is, particularly for a singer. It seems like everything goes back to prana.
Yeah, absolutely. It really does. Breathing and our heartbeat are the two things that have been with us all our lives. Those are the two things that we take so for granted, and myself as well, because in doing the nursing program, I purchased my stethoscope, and I was fooling around with it, just seeing what I could hear with it. I'd always seen it around the necks of the MDs, and so I listened to my heart, and it sounds absolutely corny, but I thought, this is like really creepy. This thing has been going on for all my life. I mean, this is the first thing. This is my light switch, and listening to the lungs as well. It was just, I'd taken them both so for granted. And I think we all do, we just expect to breathe and have a heartbeat, but it's really the basis for everything.
Many years ago, a dear friend of mine said to me, the thing about breathing is that it goes on without you noticing much until you can't. And therefore, we don't tend to it because it's like a resonant program, always working behind the scenes, except it's not behind the scenes.
Yeah, or until you get bronchitis or something like that. And it's true. It's really true. I think to be a person, any kind of discipline that you may have, whether it be athletic or artistic or anything that involves diligence and perseverance, if we keep our breathing under control, we do better overall, which there are moments when it's not possible. But if we begin to understand that it's there, then it becomes more possible.
How do people reach you? Do you have a website?
I do. goodfengshui.net, GOODFENGSHUI.net. Right now I'm focusing on something interesting, which I'm doing hour sessions on the phone to get people up and running or running better and out of their fear so that they find their own courage in these crazy times. Mostly it's talking about breathing and dressing, and I'll ask them, are you sleeping well, or what kinds of foods are you eating? And although I'm not a nutritionist, nor do I claim to be, but I work it back to feng shui, although it's not really about moving furniture unless they really want to talk about it, which we can do that too. But it's trying to get more focus on the person, and then once I get the person understanding what they're doing, we can talk about what to do better. And then we can talk about the furniture. But I'm trying to reel it in a little bit more to empowering the individual.
Well, I really appreciate you joining us and sharing a little bit about your background and your 20 years in Kung Fu and about the multifaceted aspects of your life. And I also appreciate you listening to It's Rainmaking Time.
Oh, absolutely. I'm your big fan, and I commend you on the work you do. I just find that you pour your heart into it, and I'm your cheerleader.
Thank you very,
really
very
love
much.
It.
Please contact her at goodfengshui.net. Stefania, thank you again for being our guest.
You're most welcome. Thank you.